Welcome back to the Daughters of the Moon podcast. We're grateful that you can join us for another week. And Mom and I are very excited that we're back, welcoming back Adria Estribou. She was on with us previously on episode 162, where we talked about some new earth energy. And today she's going to be on with us talking about her new book that's out, Activate Your Galactic 12-Strand DNA Channel Transmissions from Angel Raphael and Ariel, the New Earth series part two. So welcome back, Adria. We're excited to have you on with us.
Thank
You
you. I'm
bet.
delighted to be here.
So I guess we'll dig into this new book. And so what inspired you to write this new book?
Oh gosh, well, I actually was completely channeled from the angels, so it didn't come from me in that sense. Obviously, I was a very active participant, but I didn't know about the subject matter in advance. And so it really surprised me, honestly, the whole subject matter. I've gotten a little used to it now. I've had a few months to settle in and understand the importance of this topic. But it's a very interesting thing to be a channel and love books. And so put together books of channeled information, but it doesn't actually come from me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I've been reading it, and so I can see that you're transmitting through Raphael and Ariel. And so with that, when people are reading this book, is is the intention from these angels that we will receive some of those downloads ourselves?
Absolutely. So the words themselves carry an energy. This is my experience and what they've shared. So when you read a chapter that's essentially a transcript of the live transmission, it carries the energy of the angelic with it and whatever their intent was, which in this case for this book, there's activation. So waking up the dormancy in our DNA and also giving us a really compassionate view of what's going on. Because for me, anyway, these started to activate before they started sharing the information about what was going on. And I found it very disorienting, even after many decades of meditation and a lot of interest in new earth energies. It's not new subject matter to me in terms of our evolution, but I still found it was really tricky to understand what was going on. And this, for me, gave me a grounding in, oh, okay, this is a big surprise, and I'm not going crazy. Great. I can roll with the changes easier.
Yes. So with our DNA, you said that it was lying dormant. So is that because we just as humans were not ready to accept some of these activations before now?
That's a great question. I don't know directly the answer to that. I know others have spoken to that, but since I don't quite know what's true there, I would say that because the frequency is raising right now, like when this airs and over the past few weeks, the frequency of the planet is essentially lifting up to fifth dimension from third, even though some of us have already been living in fifth and higher dimensions, the Earth herself, which means there's a huge boost for humankind, which means we can now support energies like this. So activating all this dormant DNA shapes us into a 12-dimensional human where we've been essentially one-dimensional, or some of us have been rising up into other dimensions. But when we were on third, that was just a sort of a flat one-dimensional existence. So the DNA has within it the potential, the ease of living in 12 dimensions, which opens up a whole lot of fun for interdimensional travel and galactic friendships and other fun stuff. But meanwhile, on Earth, we're becoming multidimensional in a very, very embodied sense, not just in our meditation or astral travel or the dream space, but in our physical body. So activating the DNA means we can run that much more energy. I'm starting to definitely feel that in myself. Some days it feels like electricity around my body. Like I can just hold much more, let's say, safely or comfortably. So then more of our gifts can come online. We can run more galactic energy or solar light without feeling burned out by it.
And is there shifts as people start getting in and activating some of these strands? Is there shifts in our actual physical body and, what we're ingesting, what we're kind of drawn towards?
Absolutely. It's a cellular change and even smaller than that. And I'm not quite a scientist, but the DNA is very small. But it's also physical, right? So it's happening in our physical bodies. I've definitely noticed that and have had others mention that different food cravings through these different transition phases and
Mhm.
honoring that and noticing, oh, my body actually does want more carbs right now or whatever it is. Just like babies have a different, they're developing so fast, they kind of want the quick sugars. I'm not talking about the unhealthy sugars, but just carbs, right?
Right.
And similarly, we're evolving so fast cellularly, the cravings may shift. Part two of this is after we're fully active with the DNA, because that takes a lot of energy. So sometimes we'll be tired or going through interesting ups and downs with that. Once that's fully active, then our energy can go towards restoring the cellular level. So essentially, the youthening. A lot of people began to talk about humans having longer lifespans, or just the angels have said that the cells become more flexible, more pliable. So greater health, greater energy, more stamina. That comes next after activating the DNA because that's your body prioritizes, right? The first priority is get everything active and running. Then let's look at the body's physical health and regeneration. So that's coming soon as well.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
that's amazing, really, to think that we have all this power when we start activating these things within ourselves. So, can you talk about what the 12 strands of DNA are?
Sure. And some of these really surprised me, but I'll actually pull out the list from the book because so I don't forget any. Yeah. So these are the 12 galactic types of beings or types of beings generally that contributed to the formation of humankind, which have largely been dormant, now coming active. So these are in alphabetical order, not in order of number of dimensions or importance, just to kind of take the mind out of it. So Aboriginal Australian is the first one, and the angels have said that race, sorry if I'm offending anyone with my terms, I'm just using general terms here, does exist other places on Earth, but the Aboriginal Australian is one that we can right away mentally say, oh, I know what that is. So that's one. Andromedan, which may be more familiar for people who are following Galactic Friends and have starseed associations there. Andromedan. Angel is another one which surprised and delighted me. So we all have angelic DNA, and I'm looking forward to see how that plays out. All of these different mm, types of beings have different gifts and different perspectives in the world. So as that opens in us, it doesn't mean that we start to look like we grow wings, we look like an angel, but it does mean we'll start to have some of the interdimensionality and creation abilities, miracles, you might call them. We'll find out
That sounds
of these
wonderful.
different types of beings. Should I keep going?
Yes, please. Mhm.
Okay. Arcturian, again, familiar to many people who are following the beautiful, intelligent types of beings that have been helping out humankind along the way. And dragon, which surprised me, but I'm finding that a lot of people really resonate with dragon. It seems to be one of the first that's waking up in a way that we could recognize. A lot of people having dreams about dragons or just feeling like, yeah, somehow I'm part dragon or I have a dragon team or tribe. So that's something that somehow we're beginning to know, remember about ourselves.
Right.
We're not going to grow scales, but what does it mean to be able to fly, perhaps quite literally, to see color in different ways? I've started to have different ways of seeing light, which is super fun. We're reacting with minerals on Earth, um, singing with them. Giant is another very fun one to me, a nice surprise. That would include Yeti or Sasquatch, different types of giant on Earth, a literal type of being that we have in our DNA. And Lyran is the next one. Again, perhaps one of the more familiar for those who study about different races sort of nearby us and who have been involved with the human expression on Earth. This is a lot, so I'm pausing for a second. Woo. Pleiadian is the next one. Sorry if I tend to mispronounce that one, but again, it will be familiar to some of those beautiful wise beings who have been sharing through channels and others for our upliftment. And reptilian, which is one that, maybe some of us have a little pushback about, but that there's also great strength and pride and capabilities there that are helpful. So the angels talk about that quite a bit in the book too. Syrian, again, these are just in alphabetical order. The beautiful Syrians. And two more, which were surprising to me, Tara. So the angels describe Tara as a type of being that have literally lived on Earth, a quite reclusive and beautiful, compassionate hearts. So the stories of the Tara beings on Earth seem to be about this coming to save a village or tremendous compassion towards the beings of Earth, but then receding, not being seen so much.
Right.
And the last one, bringing up the Z's, is Zoroastrian. And that is a genetic line of humans, that's been here. I don't know exactly how many hundreds or thousands of years, but if you look up the history um, in the area of what was Persia, that part of the world.
That's very neat. And I would agree when you're listening to the list, like dragons is one that I find like a lot of people that I sort of follow on social media or those kind of things, about them channeling with their dragon team and things like that. So I find it that very interesting. That seems because yeah, there's some that you hear of more than some other ones.
Absolutely. And some, I mean, how would we maybe know if Zoroastrian, for example, we don't have a lot of context for that unless we live in that region of the world. So we may have been waking up to those viewpoints or sensibilities or gifts, maybe even being drawn to fire in a certain way. Fire is very important to the elements in the Zoroastrian religion, but not have known, oh, that's what that is, to be able to name it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great, and I love that we can tap into these different ones. So, will everybody have these strands, or will we be pulled towards some more than others?
Everyone has all 12, and it is up to each individual. Let's say it's the on switch or the off switch. Keep it dormant or have things be active. So if you're activating just through your intent, or maybe you intended that before coming into this life, but it's a conscious yes or no here. So if you're activating, then all of them will be active, but that doesn't mean you're using all 12 every day. But you could run two or three at a time, let's say, once your system's ready to hold that much energy. So maybe reptilian is going to come into play when you're in a fight or flight situation or where you need to protect and defend. Um,
Okay.
for example, maybe you don't use it a lot otherwise day to day. So it's not, from my experience here, all 12 all at once every moment. But there is a synthesis, which is what makes this human expression completely new. It's not just these 12, which in and of itself is a little bit mind-blowing, heart-opening. It's not just those 12, it's how do you as a unique individual combine them and synthesize. So we still retain our individuality, but definitely humankind is becoming something new.
It really is. Yeah, it really is, and I think it will be really interesting to see. And thankfully, they're only giving us these little bits at a time because I think if they were to give us everything that we at some point I think we will know, I think
Yes.
we'd be so overwhelmed.
I completely agree. Yes. And even for me, I have inklings from the angels. Yeah, another book's coming. You have a few months in between. Oh, thank you, because this is already a lot. Great. We'll just sit with this a little.
Yes. And so can you explain to everybody like how you started channeling the angels?
Oh, yeah. Channeling for me started back in 2012 through sound, vocal toning through my voice. So I guess you might call it sound healing, but it was very interdimensional, shamanic. And eventually I could tell that words wanted to come through. And so the angels weren't the first beings that I channeled, but as I learned about creating boundaries and protections for myself, I started to call in angels before sitting to channel. And then kind of laughed later, like, oh, I wonder why angels keep coming through. Well, because I was calling them in. So I called them in and they answered. It was very beautiful. So the angels have been, let's say, my go-to, or most often I channel angels. I also channel Lemurian priest and priestess. And just as of a week ago, I'm channeling a group of beings who are call themselves the founding mothers of the Zoroastrian race on Earth. So the Isa people. So it's ever evolving and ever surprising. And I'm someone who loves to learn. So I'm a conscious channel. I don't go into trance when I channel, which I love because I can listen and learn and feel the energy of the transmission along with everyone who's present there in the live gathering. It's super fun.
It does sound super fun. We'll have to
It does.
have you on with us for a live where maybe you can do some of that with people and
Yeah.
and channel because I think there's a lot of really good messages that are coming forward. Do you find that a lot of these different beings have the same message for the world?
I find that they overlap beautifully. And honestly, I don't listen to a lot of other channels or sources of information for two reasons. One, I want to be really careful not to just unconsciously parrot anyone else. Even if they're 100% pure channel, I just want to see with innocence what's coming through. So I didn't compare as this was coming through that the 12 strands, I didn't compare what is anyone else saying. I'd heard the number 12, so I hear a little bit. I'm like, okay, good. I think I'm on track here. Other people are talking about DNA activation and the number 12, but it is kind of going out on a limb to say, I don't know, but this is what the angel said, so we'll see how it interplays. But I do see common themes, particularly now. All of a sudden, I feel like DNA is everywhere in my vision in terms of YouTube titles or things like that, where I don't feel it was last year. I know people have been talking about it for decades, some people, but it feels like suddenly it's in mass consciousness. So there's this beautiful sense that when we're ready, as we're ready, there's so many different beings coming in to help, but they each have their vantage point. So some are more cerebral, some are more about healing, some are more about holding frequency, so or dismantling the old energies. So there's this wonderful concert, and then that's happening in us as the 12 activate in us too.
Yeah.
I
So can
wonder
you
if it would have anything to do with their astrological signs too. Being the
Mm.
12 is what I was just coming to me was I wonder if each sign has a specific one that they would channel more so than the other ones.
Wow.
Because everything seems to point upwards, right, to the stars. So
I love that. I don't know. I have no idea, but I am curious. I keep seeing this number 12. Like, some people talk about 12 tribes, or I just seeing 12 avatars or different pillars in terms of the new architecture. And again, I'm not following anyone else's channeling very carefully, but
right.
I do notice, something about 12. So yeah, 12 zodiac signs. There might be something
Yeah.
there, something to explore for sure.
when you're channeling next time, you might have to ask them.
Yes, yes. Or we could ask live. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
that would be
It'd be
awesome.
interesting, water sign, air signs, that type of thing. Makes you wonder if maybe if they connect that way a little bit more, where air signs you would think would be more with your dragons and that kind of thing, but yet it would probably still work in other areas as well, right?
Right. Like some of the planets are very watery, or some of them in the Lyran and Syrian systems, I believe. So yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm,
Interesting.
interesting. That is
Yeah, it is.
interesting.
Yeah, and you would think giants would be very earthy. At least my encounter with giants they've been very interested in helping me plant things in the yard and things about earth.
It's interesting with the giants when you brought that up was when I look at different things, I see pictures and I see giants. It's like they were here once. We know they were. And it's like you see them in the mountains and things like they're asleep.
Yeah.
And when you say it, that they're part of our DNA, I think that's interesting because they were here. We know they were at some
Yeah.
point, right? And so now they're starting to connect with us, even at their dormant stages as far as in the mountains and that kind of thing. So that intrigued me. It's sort of wow.
And some of it, not everything, but some of it, I used to love fairy tales growing up. And I'm finding it's interesting how some of what I'm experiencing now with, say, giants, some of it really overlaps in a nice way with fairy tales. For example,
Right?
the Seven League Boots, or some of those fairy tales, when the angels have taken us into some exploration of like what it's like to be a giant, is literally taking one step and going to another continent. It's so fun to see how
Yeah.
some of the stuff that seemed maybe it was allegorical or just fantastical, maybe quite literal. And I'm sure sometimes it was distorted or misremembered, but some of that may be really true.
True.
Yeah, I remember as a kid, probably about 11, 12, and I always would be watching the clouds. One thing my mom always instilled in my brother and I was to watch the skies. But I had I'm going to call it a story because I don't know how else to put it, about this land on the clouds of where all these people lived. And so I find it really interesting now as some of this stuff is coming out. It was like, oh, was I being made aware of that at that age, but just wasn't ready, or, I wasn't able to comprehend it at that point.
Yes, or we're talked out of it. Maybe not in the case of your beautiful parents, but a lot of kids are see things and then they're told, "Oh, that's imaginary," or so we grow out of some of the things that we
Right.
know or notice about the world. That's fascinating. Maybe quite literal. The kingdom in the clouds.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
really was. It was like, the dark and the light and it was so, there was a lot to it. And I just, actually should really try to meditate on that. Not that I'm
Mhm.
saying it out loud, but I just find it interesting how some of these snippets that you hear from different people of perchance things that have happened in their lives, how this is starting to come into play now as we're becoming more evolved and we're learning and moving up in the dimensions.
Yeah, I think it's so beautiful how so many people, whether or not they've been studying metaphysical type stuff or meditating, how many of us are just knowing things all of a sudden, we're waking up to different perspectives in ourselves. So I guess that's one thing I want to say is there's no prerequisite here. This is not just for people who are deep end meditators, or really, if you want it, you got it.
Just have to open up to it.
Yeah, it's for humankind. It's not the special few or the people who pay $999 or whatever. No, it's for all of us.
Well, I love that you say that because I'm sure there is people that do think, how do I get in touch with these different aspects and these different beings? Can you talk a little bit about that, about how people can start inviting this into their lives?
Absolutely. And the book is one way. So, this book we've been talking about, the Activate Your Galactic 12 Strand DNA, there's links to free audio activations. And so there's exercises to practice some of that in the book. And I'm aware it's not the only way. There are other people doing activations, and you can do it without others. So I would say you could start with the angelic and just intend, because everyone, in my understanding, everyone has angels, not religious based, just angels. So ask your angels, hey, I want to connect with these energies. I want to start waking this up in myself or understanding what's going on. Can you send me the right books or teachers or meditations? And I'm ready. And so just ask for that.
Nice.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I think that will help people. So, um, because I think we're all seekers, it feels like in this era. It just feels like, I know for myself and I know for mom, like we're always just like seeking more information and more, how do you bring and awaken yourself? Because I think we've gone through life, a lot of us being half asleep for a
Right.
while now.
We are not, now we're sponges. Right.
And I've been startled how much through this process I think, oh, I thought I knew what that meant before, but now I'm feeling it in the energy or my body. Yeah, it's so new. And one of the fun parts about this to me too is it's new for all of us, because this whole dynamic of a 12-dimensional human, it just hasn't been activated before. So even the beautiful beings that set this all up with the DNA don't really know what's going to happen. It's up to us, right? To take this beautiful design and make what we want of it. So it's all new. It's a playground exploration. Absolutely.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it's nice because it's open to things. So when these beings come to you, is it only through channeling, or do they come like you had referenced something about the giants helping you with planting and things like that, or do they just come as you're doing these daily activities?
Yeah, for me, it started, I think, most likely through some of the angelic practice sessions of interdimensional travel, which again, something we can all do, especially now or into the future. So I started to notice things and be able to see things more. So most often when I'm visiting with other beings, it's not channeling them. And my telepathy, well, again, really just in the last month, the last week even, has come so much sharper. So telepathic communication, and just for me, a little bit of a dim visual. I'm more of an auditory, so the visual is sometimes there, sometimes not. It's more like a impression that I think I'm seeing
Right.
this giant in my yard and we're chatting about stuff. um, yeah, so for me, it's usually not in meditation, not in a formal meditation necessarily, but where I'm more in a soft, receptive state of being. Often in nature helps a lot for me.
Mhm. Yeah.
And looking around, asking who's here, or sometimes a being will come to my attention.
Yeah.
Interesting. I wonder if it's also bringing a little bit of telling us to be a little more playful in our life. Because we get so tied up in having to know and working and all the rest of it. I'm wondering if it's also saying, let's bring some little bit of playfulness back into our lives, where the angels and that can touch in with us easier, because we're not stressed and anxious and that kind of thing. That I'm wondering if that is part of what they're trying to say through your book, you know?
Absolutely, 100%. Because we're moving into, as many people have said, the heart is now queen, or this is where we direct our energies from, the heart. So it is important and helpful that the mind understands somewhat, so we don't think we're going crazy or starting to hallucinate. Oh no, then maybe there really is a giant in my yard. Um, so some of the mental context is super helpful, I find, just so I don't freak out, but it's not directed through the mind, and we absolutely don't have to understand it. We don't have to study it. So it's more about, what do I feel? And And yes, from the angelic perspective, this is all very safe. The exploration of interdimensional travel, the what beings might come to visit, because we have so many friends protecting us. Like right now on Earth, it's a different time. The galactic beings who are going to land are friends, so we don't have to worry about that part. Essentially, so yeah, just playfully, oh, who are you? And um, exploring and feeling into what is this, rather than trying to map it with the mind and understand it and hold on to it. Just yeah, a huge playground. I
Yeah,
agree.
let it happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
feel like when you try to explain it, like I often see little people, little beings,
Mm.
usually before I'm going to bed and I'm quiet, like you said, I'm in a quiet, soft space and I will see them either, darting around. And I know it's them until I put my egotistical mind into it. And then as soon as you bring the ego in, it's like, really? Did you really see that? And it's like, how come you're not trusting with your heart when these beings are showing themselves to you? And I
Right.
think a lot of people get stuck with that. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. A lot of people are asking the angels, in the one-on-one sessions or small groups, did I really see this or did that really happen? I think all of us, including myself, have that, which is healthy. But over time, I think we just sort of prove it to ourselves through trial and error. Or, oh gosh, I find that my mind is on board now because the universe, my life has demonstrated so many times that this way of fifth dimensional or 12 dimensional living actually works, and it's more efficient and more fun. And so if I get into a lower vibratory state, I've been around a big crowd of people or something, and I start to doubt, now my mind, which I think is so cool, will say, well, no, actually, I've been watching you for the last year, 2 years, and that's not how it works for you. You don't have to do the hard way and the struggle. You just ask for what you want, and that's pretty much how it happens for you. So the mind will catch up. The doubt's just healthy and normal, and I think most or all of us have that from time to time.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's healthy to have skepticism and I think that it also pushes us to learn more when we have that skepticism because it's like, oh, well, maybe I'll do a little more studying or like you said, right? Then the right books come into your life and the right people and the right teachers always arrive when they're supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Yes. And we're in one of the big evolutionary times we're in is moving from putting the power outside of ourselves to within us, which means trusting what I know as opposed to what someone said, even a beautiful channeled being or it's more and more, what do I know? What do I feel? What do I want to playfully experience in this life? So all of these external teachers can be great guides and helps, but I think we're taking them we're either moving up or they're moving down on the pedestal so we can all just be on an even play field here. The galaxy has a lot to learn from humanity, especially new humanity. So starting to honor that, what we know.
Yeah.
Nice.
Do you think that galactical beings will come to Earth and we will recognize? I do believe they've already been here myself, but do you think we will become where we are actually accepting of the knowledge and the teachings that they're bringing to us?
The angels basically say, yeah, they're already here. And it feels like in 2026, particularly, there'll be a lot more, let's say, uncloaking of a craft or spacecraft or otherwise being a little more visible publicly. But again, it's a choice. If your belief system's so strong that that can't be possible, you're going to think that's a fraud or a hoax, or if it's scary to you, you might just not, your energy is going to sort of have you not see that news story or somehow protect you from feeling, if you're going to feel fear about that. So It'll probably be mixed about who accepts that that's actually happening. But I agree. In my perspective, they're here already, and it will start to become more and more visible. I haven't seen any beings with my physical eyes yet, but boy, have I sure seen a lot of, especially at Sedona, what appears to be, interesting shaped cloud in the sky that's probably hiding a
Seems
ship
to
or
be. It
a
really does seem to be. Yeah.
yeah. But I think we're going to start seeing them, those of us
Yeah,
that want to.
I agree with you. I know I was coming home from work one day and this, I don't know, light in the sky, and then it kind of was there, come closer, went away, and then disappeared. And I was like, huh, okay. I see you. So I think, like you're saying, if you're open to it, it's there for us to observe, right? So I love
Yeah.
that. And I know you channel. Would you be open to channeling one of the beings, whoever comes through, to give some kind of message for everyone?
Sure, absolutely. Feels like it'll be one of the angels, but we'll let them say who they are. This is Angel Raphael. So, just to restate, although it's been said here, sometimes others do value the angelic words more than the human. This activation, this waking up is for every single human in humankind if you want it. It's for you. You don't have to pay for it, work for it, earn it, get extra blessings. This is for all of humankind because it is your design. It's not something you have to earn or walk into in a painful way. It's just mm, activating within yourself what is already there. So it's also your nature, which means how is this going to work? How do I turn it on? Think about when you were a baby self and you didn't quite know yet how your feet work and your muscles, but you figured it out, and it wasn't through studying and it wasn't really through someone telling you this is how the legs work. Maybe you watched other people and you figured it out a little for the mind, but there's something in your instinct. If there were no other human creatures around, you still would walk, you would figure it out. And so, even if those around you are not becoming active and you don't have lots of stories to share or lots of mentors right now, we want you to know this is in your nature. So you can trust that at the right time, again, the baby doesn't come out talking, walking, skipping, laughing right in the first hour. But all of that rolls out with ease, with a lot of grace for human understanding of what's going on. So it's absolutely not important that you direct this with the mind or that you earn it in some way. It's yours.
Mm, thank you.
Yes, thank you. That's a beautiful message. I love that. And I love that, when they reiterate what we say as humans, like what you've been talking about and we've been discussing in this, and that they're just, saying it from their perspective. So we really appreciate you sharing that with us.
Yes,
Absolutely.
you bet.
And so, can you tell everybody where they can find your book, can find you, and
Oh, yes, thank you. It's pretty much wherever books are sold. So, um, on my website, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, etc. Ebook, paperback, and hard copy. And my website is adriaestribou.love. So if you're interested in joining live angel transmissions as the next books are written, or if you have questions for the angels, I have small groups for things like that and individual sessions.
Do
wonderful.
you have the book?
And
Do you have the book in front of you right now?
I do. Let's see if I can get it on camera there. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I
I,
like that. A beautiful cover, isn't
that
it?
is a
And
beautiful cover.
yeah, I really like that. A little style too. Yeah, I think people like to look at it so that way it gives them an idea what they can see too when they see it in the store or wherever the case may be, right?
Yeah.
It helps them say, oh yeah, that's the book I was looking for. Right. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. And so, if you had a final thought to leave with everybody, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. So this time right now, so when this is airing, right now we're in this energy uplift that is unprecedented for all of humankind's history. So just pay attention, please. Notice, celebrate, because it's now. It's this amazing frequency lift is happening right now. It's for you, it's for the planet, for everyone here who wants it. So just enjoy, take the ride.
Hop on. Thank you.
Well, we appreciate you rejoining us on our podcast and bringing this beautiful book out for everyone and sharing this information with everybody. So, thank you so much for joining us again. And we would love to do and have you on a live with us to just have people be able to talk to you about some of what you channel and some of these different strands and the DNA and all of that. So,
Absolutely. Just a delight to speak with both of you today and happy to
Thank you.
come on live. Sounds fun.
perfect. Well,
It's always fun.
thank you so much. And everybody else, we will see you on the next one.
You bet.